Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. All right. We are about ready to begin the A-team polls. Joining us today to sing the national anthems of both the USA and Canada is Sarah Lane from Guelph University, University of Guelph. Thank you.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, and brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight? O'er the ramparts we'd watch were so gallantly steaming, and the rocket's red flare, the bomb bursting in air, gave through to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, can that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Sarah. All right. Let's do some tractor pulling.
We're going to start off today's A-team polls with University of Kentucky.
Kentucky's motto is "Run she may, shine she must." Do you want to go through the specs?
Which ones?
Kentucky said this tractor has hydraulic boat steering, mechanical clutch, and a right angle gearbox.
Which it does sound like the hardest part of building the tractor this year was designing the right angle gearbox. I think it was a challenge for a lot of teams going to
Yeah, it seems like a lot of teams had problems with that right angle this year. Yeah, they said it was a major challenge having to innovate in so many areas for this year's tractor.
I can do it.
You do that, I'll do four.
How far away from the mic? And Kentucky's off. Out across 80 feet, a little over 5 miles an hour.
Coming up to that 150 mark. Still at 4.5.
Starting to lose traction.
There we go. Flag to a stop at 193.2. Great first pull. They're going to keep this attempt. As a reminder, as the first team to pull, they get the option to take or redo their attempt. They've decided to keep it. I'd be pretty happy with that 193 too. 193 also.
Hey, David, you got a guess at how much Mizzou's drivetrain costs?
I got no guess.
$15,000, they claim.
That's a lot of money.
They are using a right angle gearbox, I believe.
They said the most challenging part was the most mentally challenging part was the work-life balance needed to satisfy not only our exceptional standards for classroom performance, but to design and build the best possible tractor before the time constraints of contest.
You know, I'm a little disappointed that he didn't bring out the jacket that the X team wore yesterday.
Pretty great jacket.
Probably would pull further if they would have wore it, but
That's what I always say.
and they're off. Out across 50 feet, 6.7 miles an hour. Still keeping it above 5 miles an hour out across 150. Shifting and lost traction.
170. Pretty great second pole.
Up next is NC State. If you were watching durability yesterday, you might have heard they have a team with a lot of special talents, and some of them we wanted to get a little bit more information on and get a better understanding. And we did confirm, all of them. Very very interesting talents, a lot of them. If you want to see them, you can go back and watch the durability. We don't have enough time this poll probably to read the whole list. It takes a while.
Yeah, they said the best part of designing their tractor was seeing a year's worth of hard work pay off. They estimated that it took 3,500 hours to build this tractor. They said they had 35 plus team members.
It's a pretty big team.
That is a lot of people. NC State has come to competition consecutively since 2004. They were the winners last year, so it should be real interesting to see them pole. We got a green from the sled. Here we go.
Right above 7 miles an hour. Out across 100 feet. Starting to slow down a little bit. 163 feet.
They said that the coolest option they had for their tractor was that it will run on moonshine. Pretty impressive.
Looks like up next is Purdue. Purdue is using a pulley reduction into a right angle gearbox linked with a 3-speed manual transaxle with reverse. Steering is drive-by-wire via electric over hydraulic actuator.
They said their coolest option on their tractor was a LiDAR integration that let them do collision avoidance and prevention and possible hands-free operation. They said the strangest talent on their team is a man of 10,000 accents. That's a lot of them.
Setting up on the right side of the track. And they're off. Out across 50 feet at 4 miles an hour.
Coming up to 100. Keeping that 3.5.
Keeping right around 2.5 miles an hour now. Out past 180. Starting to slow down and lost traction at 186 feet.
Great distance to start off. Coming up, we got SDSU. They've described their tractor as automated, hydraulic, easy control, dense, and leaky. Seems like more than the five words that we asked for, but I'll take it.
You know, they said the most ridiculous thing they ever bought online for their tractor was paying hundreds of dollars in tariffs for PCB boards. Those tariffs will get you.
They will. This tractor is sporting their custom-made A-arms that they made in the pits yesterday, or 2 days. No, yesterday, with an angle grinder.
Struggling to back up, it looks like. Oh, there it goes.
They said the most unique thing about their tractor is they can play Farming Simulator on our display when we break down.
We'll have to go check that out later.
Hey, maybe they're playing Farming Simulator right now.
Out across 50 feet, 5.5 miles an hour.
Coming up on that 150 at 3 miles an hour.
Starting to slow down though. Getting a little bit of wiggle.
Rocking it.
Right at 170 feet.
Stop there.
UW-Madison has a quite unique looking tractor. They also have matching jumpsuits. Looks like they got some speakers in the armrest too. Pretty sweet. And they're off. Chugging along at 5 miles an hour. Out across the 100 feet. Starting to slow down. 150. Lost traction at 168 feet. And anytime now, NDSU is off.
Struggling to keep it going straight there at the beginning. Recovering well. Coming across 150. Gonna really struggle to keep it inside the lines. And out. 177. What?
Up next is Penn State University. Penn State's tractor is a hydrostat with hydraulic steering, independent suspension, and electronic drive controls. Said the biggest challenge was designing the hydraulics. But the best part was designing and building the tractor and tackling new ideas and implementing cool technologies. The 5 words they would use to describe their tractor is innovative, retro, blue, adaptable, and snazzy. Tractor doesn't look very blue to me, but I'll take their word for it.
We're green on the track. Here we go.
Engine's loading up. Rolled to a stop at 53 feet.
They did say this is the first year their team has used hydraulics on their tractor.
Up next is University of Tennessee Martin. This year they have an electromechanical drivetrain with electric steering.
Looks like Penn State's going to get towed off. Hopefully everything's okay over there.
When we asked Tennessee Martin one unique thing about their tractor or team that people would be surprised to hear, their response was that they secretly live at the shop. I think for a lot of teams that might be
I'm still not convinced you didn't live at the shop, Nick.
I did spend my fair share of time in that building. Probably more than I should have, but
Looks like UT Martin carries shop towels with them. Innovative.
Penn State working on getting their tractor pulled off.
They said they need a tractor. Usually that means steering or the wheels are locked up, so we'll see what's going on. Well, they're going to flat tow it off. Hopefully they can get that fixed by the next hook. Here goes UT Martin.
Out across 50 feet at 3.3 miles an hour.
Coming up on 100, dropping down to about 1 mile an hour.
Looks like they got a dual generator set up on their electromechanical drivetrain.
You know, that mod energy generator is a pretty common part around here.
You know it.
Seen a couple more electric drives this year with the 90-degree engine rotation. Been fun to see more electric.
Up next is Kansas State University. They say one unique thing about their tractor is that they build their own transmission.
Related to that, they said their hardest part of building this tractor was adapting their transmission to the new engine with a 90-degree gearbox. You do you, man. Seems like that 90-degree gearbox has been a challenge for a lot of teams this year.
Well, K-State, I could be wrong, but I believe they took a previous transmission design and turned it up on end. Excited to see how well it worked. They did pretty well in durability, I believe.
Off to a quick start, coming across 50 feet at 8 miles an hour.
Really chugging along.
One of the faster pulls I've seen.
Slowing down.
Coming to a crawl at 168. Looks like that's going to be the final distance.
They say the most ridiculous thing they bought online for their tractor, Big Sis and Little Sis charms that showed up with their Amazon order. Kind of want to know if those are on the tractor or not. Looks like right now we have Kentucky in first place, Purdue in second, and then NDSU and SDSU and NC State to round off the top 5. Looks like K-State's missing from that leaderboard, but it'll show up there. Nebraska is hooked up to the sled. You know, I will say, their driver, I heard, struggled to pass chemistry.
They really wanted us to tell you that.
Yep. Good thing this is not chemistry. We'll see if that does a little better at pulling.
I don't think tractor pulling and chemistry really go too hand in hand, but we'll see.
Out across the 120 feet. Chugging along at 2.5 miles an hour.
Coming up on 150. And we're going to flag to a stop at 152. I'd say that's pretty decent. So I guess tractor pulling isn't like chemistry.
Well, I think I could get behind that.
Coming up, we've got Illinois.
They have a mechanical drivetrain, 4-speed transmission, differential modified into a right angle gearbox with hydraulic steering.
You know, I believe Illinois was rebuilding their diff last night. Seems like they sheared, I believe, a pinion gear. They're going to restart. They do get that option to restart if they haven't crossed the 50-foot mark. Here we go. Letting go of that clutch. Coming across 50 foot at 4 miles an hour. Holding 3 miles an hour at the 100 foot.
Starting to bounce. Lost traction at 136 feet. Oklahoma State also has an electromechanical drivetrain. Their team motto is, "That's not supposed to do that."
They said the weirdest thing they bought was a whole Suzuki Samurai for drivetrain parts. Curious what they did with the cab.
I don't know what's quite strange about that. Seems like a pretty regular thing to do.
Said the strangest talent or skill on their team is the ability to devour snacks in no time flat. They said if they were stranded on a durability track, they would look for a good snack like a Twinkie and a Mountain Dew. So whatever they broke, it's probably going to need a welder, and they don't have time for that.
They also said their team's go-to shop snack is Twinkies and Mountain Dew. Quite a few other answers to our questions were Twinkies and Mountain Dew.
Seems like a theme emerging. Gonna come to a slow start. 1.5 miles an hour across the 25-foot mark.
Starting to hear some grinding.
Here comes 50 foot at 1.7.
Slowing down.
Flag to a stop at 60.
Up next is Cal Poly. And their signature yellow helmet with green stripes. Looks like they got their tractor driving. Heard earlier in the week they had issues with the shaft on their hydraulic motor, I believe, snapping, and then I think they're having issues with their tensioner or something like that last night, but it looks like they got it back together.
They said one interesting thing about their team is they're the only West Coast team.
Seems
Seems like they forgot to check the list before saying that, but Oregon State's here this year. Brand new team.
excited to have them.
Yeah. Always great to have new teams.
Up next is University of Saskatchewan.
I'm really excited to see this zero-turn pole.
They said the stringent talent or skill on your team is one guy. Not quite sure I understand what they mean by that, but
I guess maybe you just got to meet him.
now you do notice this is the first zero-turn tractor we've seen today. Excited to see how it does in the polls.
Got a couple zero turns this year. Kind of something we haven't seen a lot in the past. There's a recent rule change this year that allowed a lot of unitized hydros, which has allowed a lot of teams to switch to a zero-turn design. I believe that's what they're using on this one, isn't it? Coming up to a slow start, 2.5 at the start.
Out across 50 feet, 3.5 miles an hour.
Struggling to keep it going straight.
Starting to spin. Came to a stop at 96 feet. Up next is University of Georgia. This is their second year at competition. Really glad to have them back. They have a mechanical drivetrain and a hydraulic steering.
They said if their team was a bunch of pirates, their pirate flag would be a Busch Light box and their chest would be full of it. I don't know if they're the only team here that likes Busch Light.
They did say if their team captain was a wizard, their signature spell would be instantaneous McMaster car deliveries. I think there's a lot of teams that would appreciate that. I mean, to be fair, McMaster does get things shipped pretty fast.
They said their most played song or radio station was Amos Moses. Their team's go-to shop snack is bacon.
Out across 50 feet at 4 miles an hour. Slowing down at the 120-foot mark. Still crawling along. Came to a stop at 155 feet.
Next up, we got University of Guelph.
I believe this is University of Guelph's second year at competition. They have a custom hydraulic transmission, racing disc brakes, and Ackerman steering. They said the most challenging part of designing or building the tractor was designing and building in a timely manner and weight management. I think a lot of teams struggle to keep their tractor at 900 pounds. Took them 33 weeks to build this tractor.
I've always been fascinated by the little bit of frame bending you can see on this tractor. See if that affects their pull distance at all. Here we go. Coming up to 5 miles an hour across the 50-foot mark.
Came to a stop at 106 feet. Up next for their first ever pole at competition is Oregon State.
Oregon said the most ridiculous thing they've ever purchased was a $500 brake kit.
Five words to describe their tractor: strong, silly, sophisticated, savage, and heavy.
They said if their team was a bunch of pirates, their flag would be a beaver logo outline in orange on a black flag, and our tractor keys would be in the treasure chest. All they'd want if they were stranded on a durability course is a roll of electrical tape.
They have a mechanical drivetrain with a right angle gearbox, hydrostat transmission, and a non-powered steering system.
They said that their favorite movie involving small garden tractors was Cars. A common answer. Still don't quite understand why there's garden tractors in it, but they're going to take a minute to reevaluate here. Looks like we're going to bump the sled back just a bit. Tighten up that chain. Again, they stopped short of that 50-foot mark, so they're going to get the opportunity to try again. And here they go. Sounds like they've stopped.
Their team motto is, "It doesn't matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop."
They did go slow. Just struggling on that last part.
Hey, but they'll be back for some more hooks.
We got 2 more hooks after this, so I have confidence in them. They said if their visor was a superhero, they would be able to shapeshift. Or they would be shapeshift from Invincible. Because the team's advisor keeps changing.
There will be a 10 to 15 minute break between hooks. I'm checking to see if there's any more teams that have slipped in the order. Looks like the top three is University of Kentucky with 193 feet, followed by Purdue with 186, and North Dakota State with 177. I think we're missing a couple teams on that list, but top three are on there for sure.
We're missing a couple on the list we're showing, but it's fine. I've got issues on multiple of them, so.
I will note the pole distances on this leaderboard are preliminary results. We are using the sled as the official distance. The top three is correct, though. Some of the other ones might be too, but apparently it keeps jumping back into gear. The opposite problem of most of the X teams last night. They struggled to keep it in gear.
Yeah, it seemed like nobody could keep it in gear last night. Now we've got our poll leaderboard. Should have everybody on there now. Again, these are preliminary results.
Sounds like. Sounds like NDSU's pull distance is 142.2. They went out of bounds, so there's a 20% reduction in pull distance. So that puts Mizzou in third place. We get our leaderboard updated now. NDSU's in 10th place. Hook 2 will be 1,600 pounds, high chain height.
Again, we're on that 10-minute break. After the break, we'll come to A-team hook number 2.
Getting a view from in the tech barn. Some teams sitting in quarantine. last remaining team did not make their scale times, so we will be getting ready for Hook 2. Teams are lining up to go across the scales, as you can see here in the tech barn. We received a request from Iowa State. Their tractor did not make it through Tech In. They wanted us to read a couple of the answers they gave on the team information form. They said if their team was a bunch of pirates, their pirate flag would be the original Cyclone Power Pullers logo because it would be piracy to use it. And in their treasure chest, they would keep all the displays for their tractors.
They said the most unique thing about their tractor is they didn't use a 90-degree gearbox. I'd like to say another unique thing about their tractor is it doesn't drive. Iowa State. It's hard to make it through Tech-In. The tractor can't drive. They said the most ridiculous thing they've ever purchased was fog lights advertised for a Lamborghini.
And their team's go-to shop snack is something from the ASABE closet.
Seems like an interesting thing to admit. They said the 5 words that would best describe their tractor are "at least we had fun." They said that before they couldn't drive, so at least they had realistic expectations, I guess. They said the best thing about their design was completing a beautiful tractor. It does look pretty good. And for a description of that tractor, it's a single drive motor electric drivetrain, rack and pinion driven by an electric motor with 4-link suspended front axle.
They said it was challenging working with vendors this year to get parts in time. Rumor on the street, they didn't get the casting back for their differential. Well, I'm not sure if they got it, but it shipped on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think it's still in shipping, actually. They did figure out a way to use an old casting, but still had some issues getting some software done, so they did try their best, and I don't know if any of them have slept in a week, but they're here.
UT Martin making some adjustments on the scale. We will have a special event over lunchtime. People were asking yesterday during the live stream, they wanted more grilling segments. Last year we had What's Cooking with SDSU. Mizzou was feeling a little left out, and so were some other teams. So we're gonna have a showman's cook-off here around lunchtime. It'll definitely be something.
Yeah, just after this next hook, we'll have a lunch break and we'll do that. We'll, if any teams are interested, talk to SDSU or Mizzou. They were the ones that came up with the details. But we'll do it at the end of the track here, and not eating the food, just about the flair of making it and the showmanship.
The technique.
Gotta have the technique. We are going to require one member of your team to eat the food that you make. So it better be at least edible.
K-State on the scale. Looks like Nebraska's maybe the next one to come across the scale. I think we do see Mizzou and SDSU getting ready for the cook-off here.
Man, SDSU's tractor must be running well. They've broken out the football and started a real tailgate out there. Mizzou is starting up the grill. Got to get it nice and hot for that grill off. Back in the pole barn, Nebraska's still trying to make weight here. Back in the pits. Mizzou's really got the grill going now. The barn is starting to fill up. We're getting ready for those A-team poles. A-team hook 2.
UT Martin backing up to the sled. UT Martin said that the most challenging part of designing or building the tractor was trying to make everything fit inside the frame, as well as finding a way to make electric steering work. I will say we have seen some differing designs when teams have done electric steering. Some of them are a little slow to respond. Five words to describe their tractor: a pain in the butt.
Here they go, coming out across 50 feet, hitting 4.3 miles an hour. Coming up, crossing 100 feet. Coming up to 175 at 2 miles an hour. Stop at 182.8.
Pretty good pull. Correction, 188 feet. Just a reminder that the distance on the live stream is preliminary results. The sled is the official pole distance. We will correct it as we go. Possibly. Yeah.
Coming up, we've got Kansas State hooking up to the sled. Kansas State said it took 2 weeks to build their tractor.
They said if their team captain was a wizard, their signature spell would be "That ain't going nowhere." That instantly causes things to fly out of the ballast box, which sounds like the opposite of what saying "that ain't going anywhere" does.
They said the best thing about their tractor build was the friends they made along the way.
Pretty quick. Early on, they hit 80 miles an hour. Still keeping right above 4 miles an hour past 180 feet. Out past 190 and just about hit 200.
That official distance might just be over 200.
Sled's getting back to the line. Next up is Nebraska. We have no notes saying whether or not this driver was able to pass or barely pass chemistry, so
we'll just have to see.
they have a 100% mechanical drivetrain with the rack and pinion Ackerman steering. They said the most challenging part of designing and or building the tractor was hex rivet nuts can fit in round holes. Easy mistake to make.
Do you fully know what that means, Nick?
I do. We have definitely ordered the wrong ones before. That's when that instantaneous McMaster car delivery would come in handy when you realize you messed up.
Oh, yeah.
Their team motto is FEA, failure to execute appropriately.
Oklahoma State's going to get pulled out of line. Hopefully they can make it back to drop to the end of the pole order. Oklahoma State will be dropping to the end of the pole order, so we should see them back by the end.
And the chain is tight.
Here goes Nebraska. Getting up to 3.5 miles an hour. Crossing the 50-foot.
Pull force is slowly going up. Out across 125. Right above 3 miles an hour. Out past 160. Still keeping that 3 miles an hour. Starting to slow down. 195. Up next is University of Illinois.
Illinois said that if their advisor was a superhero, he would be Gru from Despicable Me. No explanation given.
The coolest option you could get for the tractor, which may or may not be on the competition tractor, is the front differential can be modified into a PTO shaft, which may then be used to spin a 6-foot diameter industrial fan. Not sure what they would use that for, but be a pretty cool option, I suppose.
They said their 5 words to describe their tractor were cool, orange, tractor, and silly. Evidently counting is not one of their skills, given that that's 4 words.
Out across 75 feet at 3.7 miles an hour.
Illinois has been coming to competition for 22 years now, since 2001. Up there with the best of them, since competition's only happened since 1998.
A little bit of a bounce. Came to a stop at 177 feet.
They said they had at least 7 team members who worked on their tractor.
Keep in mind, they may or may not be able to count. We know they can at least count to 4.
They said it took over or under 127 days, 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 20 seconds to build their tractor. It's an awful specific number.
Waiting on the next team to come into the pole barn. Heading over to the tech barn, it looks like Manitoba, I believe.
Looks like our next poll was McGill. They're going to drop. OK State's dropped, so up next we got Manitoba.
With another 0 turn. Trying to get lined up to come on the sled.
You know, we'll have to see if they've still got that innovative control system they were sporting through Tekken. You
You
know,
know-
Nick and I watched as they were going through Tekken with Manitoba, an innovative control system. They had a piece of cardboard with 2 potentiometers in order to drive that tractor. Not quite sure what they're using now.
I believe we saw them drive sideways off the scale. Never seen that happen before.
Almost looked a little bit like what's happening now. Hopefully they'll be able to make it up to the sled and give it a pull.
Are there any rules against hooking up to the sled sideways?
That would be a question for our rules chair.
I'm going to try for the reversing onto the scale here, maybe. Oh, no, turn it back around.
Manitoba's going to scratch now. Correction, Manitoba's going to drop to the end of the pull order. That means our next up should be Cal Poly, who's hopefully coming onto the scale pretty soon.
It really has been a challenge for teams this year, going to a new engine with the vertical shaft. Definitely seen some teams staying here pretty late all week, more than I think is normal.
Yeah, Nick and I were talking about it. The pits have been pretty busy come 11 o'clock at night every night, so interesting to see. Looks like we've got University of Georgia coming up on the scale.
I think with all the challenges we've seen teams having, I think in the next couple years, I think we'll have some really strong teams. They'll learn a lot from this year and bring some really good tractors. Looks like University of Guelph made it up on the scale. Oh, we missed Georgia. They're going to be pulling here.
Got Georgia hooking up here.
They said their team's favorite movie about or involving lawnmowers is Forrest Gump.
We got a green on the sled, and here we go.
Out across 50 feet at 4 miles an hour. Past the 100 feet. Starting to slow down just a little bit.
They said the coolest option on their tractor was speakers. And if their advisor was a superhero, he would be the Hulk.
And they came to a stop at 180 feet. Great pull. Five words to describe University of Guelph's tractor is serviceability, great personality, adaptability, and comfort.
Here goes Guelph off the line. Coming across 50 feet. Crossing 100 now at 2 miles an hour.
Slowing down.
They're going to stop at 117. Pretty solid improvement from their first pole, I believe.
Looks like the next team up is University of Kentucky, I believe. Their X team did pretty good in the polls last night. Pulled the sled all the way out of the barn. See if they can do it again for A team.
Had to flag them to a stop. We thought they were going to go all the way to Lexington.
Kentucky backing up to the sled. And
Here
they're
goes
off.
Kentucky.
Out across 50 feet at 4.8 miles an hour. Just like that, they're past the 100-foot mark. Around 1,300 pounds pull force. Pull force is slowly going up. Out across the 190. Slowing down. Lost traction at right around 200 feet.
A little pop there. Hope everything's okay.
Up next is Mizzou. The strangest talent or skill your team member possesses, they said Aiden can ride a unicycle. Now the real question, can he pull with the unicycle? That'd be impressive. They said if they were stranded on a durability track, can only have one item, it'd be a wrench to tighten their exhaust because it fell off 2 years ago. They said if their team captain was a wizard, he would make money disappear. Well, correction, he does make money disappear.
Don't we all?
Reminder, I believe earlier they said their drivetrain alone was $15,000. Out across the 50-foot mark. Just like that, out across the 100. Just above 6 miles an hour. Slowing down. Came to a stop at 188 feet.
Next up, we got NC State coming up.
They said the most ridiculous thing they bought online for this tractor is Toyota Prius parts.
I know a couple other teams have done that. I know Nick has ripped apart a few Prius transmissions in his quarter scale days.
You know, it's a good time. We'll see if that Toyota reliability plays out here for them. They did have their tractor a little bit apart last night. Not 100% sure what they were working on, but he said if their advisor was a superhero, he would be Batman because the crime rate in Peoria reduces by 60% during the span of competition since 2004. No doubt it's because of our coach Batman and assistant coach Robin. They estimated it took approximately 3,500 hours to build their tractor. They also said they had 35 team members, so is it 100 hours per team member, or what's the distribution there?
They said the most unique thing about their tractor is 100% of the fabrication is done in-house. Going to come across the 100-foot mark at 6 miles an hour.
Shifted down. Out past 180 at 3.5 miles an hour. Slowing down. Lost traction at 194 feet.
I think they're just shifting to show off, you know. X-Team last night, they couldn't keep it in gear. A-Team wants to show they can even shift under power.
North Carolina State's team motto is Wolfpack leads, never looks back. Next team up is Purdue University.
Their advisor would also be Batman because of his silent leadership and how through his thorough and impactful his advice is.
You made your way through that eventually.
I don't know if the grammar of the sentence was quite right.
Well, yeah, you can only do so much. But what I do want to know, if North Carolina State's advisor would be Batman and he reduces the crime rate by 60%, and Purdue's advisor is also would be Batman, how much would the crime rate be reduced then?
I mean, I think there's just no crime in Peoria this week then.
Or is there negative crime? Is it, negative 40%?
Maybe.
Or is it 60% of 60%?
The Purdue Polars pirate flag would be an image of a sunlit train, and their treasure chest would store 10mm sockets and 5/32 Allen keys.
He said if they're stranded on a durability track and can only have one item, it'd be a Jimmy John's sandwich. And they wanted to clarify that that's not a sponsor. But I'm sure they'd be willing for Jimmy John's to sponsor them.
They said their favorite shop snack was Sprite with Fritos and peanut butter snacks. Here we go with Purdue starting.
Out past 50 feet at 4 miles an hour. Out past 100. Keeping a pretty steady speed out past the 150. Just starting to slow down. Past the 190. And came to a stop at 196.
Great pull distance.
Up next is South Dakota State University. Yesterday you heard their team's theme song. If you want to listen to it, you can go back and watch a live stream from yesterday, or if you ask them, I'm sure they'd email it to you.
They're pretty proud. They made it themselves with AI.
They said if their team captain was a wizard, their signature spell would be Focusum Pride. It would use it on all the unproductive members to make them focus on building the tractor.
They said if their advisor was a superhero, they would be Shaggy and Scooby-Doo.
Did a wheelie off the line here. Oh,
Ooh.
something went wrong.
Stopping at 53.9.
Just past the cones.
Yeah, just past that 50-foot mark. Again, that's going to mean they can't redo it. We'll have to confirm that with the official distance and make sure that's the verdict.
Can I just say UW's Madison's attire is quite spectacular.
Oh, yeah, I was worried earlier. I saw them in the tech barn. They weren't wearing the pants with it. You just got to get the whole effect. I don't know that I've ever seen a team show up with matching attire to their tractor especially with such a vibrant and eye-catching color scheme, but I love it. We can check in on our preliminary leaderboard here. We got Kentucky in number 1, Kansas State up next, and then Purdue. Again, all these results are preliminary. We'll have to get the official distance for points. SDSU is going to drop.
UW-Madison's pulling up to the sled. Sounds like South Dakota State ran out of fuel. Rookie mistake.
You do got to put gas in these things. They are not fully electric. Yeah, we're going to let them restart. We do fill everyone's tractor to exactly 1 liter of fuel before the start. So
UW-Madison is off.
that's why we're going to let them restart.
Out across the 60 mark. Tractor's loping pretty hard. Smoothing out a little bit once we approach the 150 mark. Still keeping it at 2.5 miles an hour. Slowing down just ever so slightly.
That thing's just going to keep crawling. Oh, picking up the front. looks like we're going to stop at 192.4. Great distance.
And you know that paint job definitely gave them a couple extra feet.
Oh, yeah. I think definitely that the matching attire really helped out. Next up, we got North Dakota State. North Dakota State said it took 80 hours to complete their tractor. You know, we've always wondered, some teams say it takes 52 weeks, some teams say it takes 80 hours. I'm not 100% sure we all have the same understanding of that question, but
They said the coolest option that you could get on their tractor is 6 reverse gears. Not sure why you would want that on a lawn tractor, but cool nonetheless.
the best part of their year was designing and building a completely new tractor. Gonna come across the line. And coming across 50 foot at 6.5 miles an hour. Coming to 100, it's still at 6 miles an hour. 150 slowing down a little bit. You can see that really bogging the engine down.
Ran out of power.
Gonna stall the engine at 183.6.
Up next is Penn State University in their not so blue tractor. Maybe it's supposed to be blue.
Maybe. They've got a lot of bare metal on that tractor. D25 hydrostatic tractor with hydraulic steering, independent suspension, and electric drive controls. They say their motto is expect excellence, accept mediocrity. We're green on the sled.
And they're off. Out past 50 feet. Slowing down to right around 3 miles an hour. Stalled the engine at 98 feet.
Now we're going to start getting into our tractors that dropped to the end of the pull order. First up, we got McGill getting ready to hook up to the sled here.
Now, I just want to take a moment to appreciate portion of our competition is defensive design. It's relatively new to the competition. It kind of replaced the points for the sound portion of Tech In. A lot of teams, they will have like a PowerPoint, talk about their design of their tractor, but I want to say McGill went above and beyond on their defensive design video. I really appreciated it. It's a shame it doesn't get seen by anyone but the committee.
Pretty great video. We're green on the sled. Gonna tighten that chain. And we're off. Sounds like we're going to stall the engine at 90.3 feet. Great pull for McGill.
They said the most ridiculous thing they ever bought online for their tractor was an entire ATV just to use the diff.
Next up, we got Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma backing up to the sled. They said the most challenging part of designing and building the tractor was building and coding the electrical steering. Slowly chugging along. Just crossed the 50-foot mark. Out across the 80. Going 2 miles an hour.
That is quite some noise coming from that tractor.
Slowing down just a little bit to 1.5 miles an hour across the 120-foot mark.
Curious what's going on there. It's not typical to get that much noise with an electric drive.
Came to a stop at 132 feet. One unique thing about their tractor team, they said this year they only had 2 upperclassmen. 5 words to describe University of Saskatchewan's tractor is the green mean pulling machine. One unique thing about their tractor is they bribed a machinist with wings to finish their tractor on time.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Their team motto is, "It may be small, but it can do a lot for its size." It's interesting seeing their massive tractor.
They were stranded on a durability track and can only have one item. They said they'd want a John Deere 4455 because it's the best tractor and they could pull us to safety and finish the course.
Saskatchewan is doing a hydrostatic drive in a zero-turn configuration. The best part of designing and building their tractor was working with friends, now enemies. Sounds like a long year. And they do say that it took them, how long they spent on their tractor. They said what felt like forever.
We've all been there. And they're off. Out across the 50-foot mark at 5.6 miles an hour.
Going pretty fast. Hanging a little bit to that left side. Operator's going to rock it over, try to get it.
Stayed pretty straight that time. Came to a stop at 104 feet. Looks like SDSU will be the next one on the sled.
Hopefully they got gas in it this time.
That would be pretty embarrassing if they forgot again. They're spending so much time and effort getting prepared for this special event here during lunchtime that forgot to put gas in their tractor, I guess. And they're off. Looks like they're making it a little bit further this time. Out across the 100-foot mark. Holding 4 miles an hour.
Coming across 150 here. 3.5. That thing's just going to keep going. Oh.
Came to a stop at 192 feet. They said the best part of building their tractor was drivetrain dyno testing. I can't say big words, so I'm sorry.
After this, we got Cal Poly. After Cal Poly, we'll do our equipment parade to thank all of our sponsors. And then after that, we'll start our lunch events. So any teams that are wanting to compete in our showmanship grill-off can start to make their way towards the end of the track. Yeah. Yeah, please stay outside the track for right now. Once we get that equipment parade over, we can move you in.
Cal Poly backing up to the sled. Think maybe their belt was slipping there.
It does take a lot more force than you'd really expect just to start the sled moving. So it looks like that's going to be the end of this hook. Now we're just getting ready for the equipment parade and lunchtime activities.
Third hook, we'll start pulling at 12:45. A quick break for lunch for the track crew, and we will see you shortly. In the meantime, you'll notice a parade of equipment off to your left. Quarter scale competition could not happen if it was not for our multitude of corporate sponsors. We have a variety of different levels of membership, starting off with titanium, platinum, gold sponsorship, silver, bronze, and then our site sponsors. We're ready for you guys on the parade. First up is Kubota, who this year is a titanium level sponsor. A titanium level sponsor is one who has given a donation equal to or greater than $20,000. Kubota donated this M7 for a display vehicle along with other track and committee vehicles to be used during competition, as well as judges for written and oral and soft skill events. Please give it a round of applause to Kubota. CNH is also a titanium level sponsor this year. CNH donated the 715 for the display equipment out back, as well as judges and a monetary donation for the competition. Thank you to Case IH. John Deere is also returning as a titanium level sponsorship this year. John Deere donated the Gator for the committee, this 8R series tractor for the display equipment, and a significant amount of judges for oral presentations and written design reports. Thank you to John Deere. As you know, CNH has two brands, Case IH and New Holland. New Holland Agriculture also has made a significant contribution to the quarter scale competition this year, as well as judges and committee members for the event. Thank you to New Holland. And it looks like we got a T8 Genesis this year. AGCO is a silver level sponsorship this year. AGCO donated judges for multiple events, as well as the Massey tractor for display equipment this year. Thank you to AGCO. You know, with all this equipment running across this track, we might not need to do a whole lot of packing. If you want a nice heavy line, I suggest you probably follow the 17 track line. The Kloss Foundation is a titanium level sponsor. Kloss donated this, made a monetary donation, as well as this Axion for display, as well as judges for the competition. Thank you to Kloss Foundation, and thank you to all of our sponsors throughout the year. At the platinum category, We give a big thank you to Dan Foss as well as SolidWorks and Titan. In the gold category, we have catalytic combustion, which you're all familiar with due to the exhaust on all of your tractors that was required this year. Thank you to catalytic combustion. In our silver level sponsors, along with AGCO, we have GSI, who donated the funds necessary for the pork fry on Friday night. Also in the silver category, we have MacDon, Linac, Vermeer, Thompson, SpaceX, and Krone. Thank you to our silver level sponsors. In the bronze category, we have IGUS, Madero's Machining and Manufacturing, Miller, ScaleTech, Condex, Precision Planting, Maytex, Dewey Soft, and that is the complete list of our bronze level sponsors. On the site level sponsors, which is donations up to $1,499 cash or in-kind donations, we have AC McCartney Farm Equipment, Blunier Implement, Caterpillar, Electrex Incorporated, Harvest Master, Martin Tractor, S.J. Smith Company, Star Equipment, and Wall Scale. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And that wraps it up for us for a little bit. We will see you all back at 12:45 for the third hook. That'll be a low hook at 1,600 pounds. Thank you. As we get teams lined up here, there was one more titanium level sponsor I did not mention, and that is Kawasaki Engines. If it weren't for Kawasaki stepping up to pick up engine sponsorship from Briggs & Stratton, we would not have a competition this year. So if you see those gentlemen from Kawasaki, please thank them, as they will continue to be our sponsor in the upcoming years. Also, a big shout out to Mr. Kent Thorson, who worked diligently over the last 2 years to get things set up from a rules side, a mission side of things, to ensure that we can keep competition for many more years to come. Thank you.
University of Saskatchewan pulling up to the sled for the third hook.
University of Saskatchewan has their tractor named Lil Green. I'd say it's more of Big Green, but to each their own.
I think the fairing's only in OBS.
Probably.
I pulled it up on the live stream.
Oh, it is? Oh, good. I was hoping it was a projector mount thing. Saskatchewan said the most challenging part of designing and building this tractor was realizing engineering is a beautiful concept but not practical. Which is a little bit of a concerning answer for an engineering competition, but they said in May they had about 3 people working on their tractor. Their school's competed since 2002. Looks like we're green on the track. And we're going to start pulling here. Off the start line. Coming at 1 mile an hour. Gonna struggle to get traction there.
Up next is University of Georgia.
Sask is going to drop to the end of this class. University of Georgia coming off the line.
Out across 50 feet at 4.5 miles an hour.
At 115 at 4 miles an hour. Miles an hour at the 185 and gonna stop 191. Next up we got Guelph. And here goes Guelph off the line.
Out across 50 feet at 4 miles an hour. Really see that frame flexing there. Came to a stop at 103 feet.
Up next, we got Kentucky. This tractor's name is Wildcat 3525. Kentucky's competed in competition here for 24 years. The 5 words to describe their tractor most were beefy, shiny, mysterious, modular, and stubby. The most unique thing about their tractor is the gearbox housings are 100% custom and were machined out of billet aluminum in-house. We are green on the track.
Out across 50 feet at 5 miles an hour. Past the 125 foot mark. Still at 4.5 miles an hour. Starting to slow down.
And traction out at 200.7.
Oh boy. Up next we have University of Mizzou, and they took our advice and brought the jacket out.
That jacket fresh off the grill out. If you missed our grill out, you might just have to go back and watch it.
This is Mizzou's 20th tractor since joining the competition in around either 2002 or 2003.
They very creatively call it Tiger 20. The 5 words that best describe Mizzou's tractor is "We did not use a hydro."
And off the line. Speeding up. A little over 7 miles an hour. Past the 100 foot mark. Starting to get light.
Front wheels just barely touching. And going to stop at 170 feet. Next up, we got NC State.
5 words to describe their tractor are student designed, built, tested, and repaired.
If they were stranded on a durability track, they would get good old Carolina moonshine to drown our sorrows. If they were a bunch of pirates, they would have Blackbeard's flag, since he is from North Carolina, and they would keep a 9/16 wrench, a pair of Harbor Freight calipers, and the winning trophy in our Bojangles Supreme box. They have a lot of answers related to Bojangles Supreme. Their most played song in their shop is "It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere." They are one of the teams who said Cars was their favorite movie about or involving lawnmowers. They say parentheses Frank the Combine, but in his name it says Combine, so I'm still not sure how that relates to lawnmowers.
And they're off. Out across 50 feet at 7.5 miles an hour. Slowing down. Shifting down. 4 miles an hour. Past the 150-foot mark.
Getting that wiggle going.
Engine starting to load down.
Really biting in now. 193.
Up next, we have University of Purdue. They said the best part of designing or building the tractor was gaining of understanding to visualize failure points and more creative solutions.
They said the strangest talent on their team is the men of 10,000 accents. I am curious to meet that man or men. It says men, but who knows?
Speaking of Purdue University, one of the members of North Carolina State's team is a certified rat tickler, in parentheses, from Purdue University.
He said it's a 2-hour online course. Apparently tickling rats improves their life. Some solid scientific research going on over there at North Carolina State.
Oh, and really Purdue as well.
Looks like we're green on the track. And we're off.
Out past the 50-foot mark.
Holding 4 miles an hour. Coming across 100 feet, still at that 4 miles an hour. Getting up to about 1,500 pounds of draft load on that tractor. Man.
Wheels are in there.
Seeing that draft load come up to 2,000.
Came to a stop at 194 feet.
Up next, we got South Dakota State. After taking the win in that grill out, I think they just got that momentum to carry them through this tractor pull.
They got Farming Simulator up on there.
Oh, they are loading a field in Farming Simulator. Got to be careful of those grab handles while you're playing Farming Sim going down the track.
South Dakota State's tractor is a hydrostat drivetrain, electric over hydraulic steering. They have an 11-inch display to play Farming Simulator on, of course, and a custom-made air ride seat.
Most difficult part of this year for them was component lead times, something that's plagued a lot of teams for a while now. When asked how long this tractor took, in weeks or hours, they said all of them. Said they got 25 people on their team, and they've been competing here for 21 years.
And they're off the line. 5.5 miles an hour across the 50-foot mark. Out past the 100. Starting to slow down just a little bit. Out past the 180. It's clawing along. Came to a stop at 191 feet. Can we get a confirmation if Farming Simulator loaded?
Yeah, is the field loaded? Can we get a thumbs up, thumbs down? Oh, I can't hear us. Busy giving hearts to somebody in the audience.
Up next is UW-Madison.
Again, this matching color scheme of outfit and tractor, I think it adds 10 feet. Here goes Madison off the line.
Really got that engine loping. Sounds like an SDSU tractor. Out past the 120. Slowing down just a little bit. Came to a stop at 133 feet. Or maybe you went outside the line.
Next up, we got North Dakota State. Their team motto is measure twice, grind it till it fits. Given the amount of grinding we've seen back here, I think that might be the motto for a lot of teams. Their tractor is a fully mechanical drivetrain with Ackerman steering geometry. They said the most challenging thing they had to do this year was designing around the vertical crank engine with no CVT. You know, we were interested to see this year that NDSU's tractor is not sporting their typical green. Looks like they're having some trouble starting it. We'll see what's going on here. NDSU starting with a jolt there.
Threw their weights off. Getting the weights put back on.
We'll show our preliminary leaderboard here. Got Kentucky in number 1, followed up by Purdue, NC State, and Georgia. Got a pretty tight packing there in the 190s to 200. Again, this is our preliminary leaderboard. Official distances are being taken off the sled and will be computed later.
Up next is Penn State University.
That's going to be a DQ for NDSU. They dropped a weight, and that weight hit the sled. Penn State says the biggest challenge their team faced was designing the hydraulics and making weight. Hydraulics do get a little bit complicated with a hydrostat like that, so I can see that being a problem.
Out across 50 feet at 4 miles an hour. Just past 130 feet, slowing down.
Down to a crawl as they hit 150. Loading down that engine. Gonna lope back up. It'll just keep going until it stops.
At 174 feet.
Next up, we got UT Martin.
UT Martin's team motto is "Don't let the smoke out." So we all know once you let the smoke out, it ain't going back in.
So hard to put it back in.
This is the 13th year UT Martin has competed in the competition. They said the most challenging part of building the tractor was the testing aspect, finding all of the weaknesses or strengths of the tractor.
It's good. We see some teams come in here that have clearly not tested their tractor to find those weaknesses, and the durability track and the pull track will really find those. Always good to see people do that beforehand. Looks like there might be an oil leak there.
Too bad they don't have the shop towels they had on the front of their tractor earlier.
Yeah, last poll they had a roll of shop towels in front.
Maybe they ran out.
Maybe. Maybe that's why the shop towels were there. This tractor seems to be an electric drive. UT Martin's done those electric drives for a couple years now. Seem to be getting pretty good at it. Running the dual Mott Energy generators there. Signature of Oklahoma, and a couple teams have started to do that too. A couple teams have tried to run the single Mott Energies, and it's just not quite enough.
The brushes get a little bit hot.
Yeah, last year we got a real fun light show from Iowa State using one of those Mott Energy motors. It really made a lot of sparks fly.
And they're off past the 50-foot mark. at 4.5 miles an hour. Across the 100-foot mark. Slowing down to 3.5 miles an hour. Really slowing down. 195 feet.
Bring the engine to a stop there.
Say that's one of the better pulls I've seen out of an electric drive tractor.
It is.
Up next, we have Kansas State.
This tractor is named 25 Power Cat. Man, a couple teams here have got these real creative names. Lots of 25s. I wonder what that's for.
Their tractor has a fully mechanical drivetrain, cantilever suspension, hydraulic steering, and a fully custom-built transmission.
Off the line, going across 50 feet at 8 miles an hour. Coming across 100 at 6 miles an hour.
The engine's loading up, wheels off the ground.
Gonna go across 175 here at 4 miles an hour. And keep going up to 200 feet before they stop. Nathan. Could you just go over and tell us? Well, yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Taking a look at the leaderboard, we have Kentucky followed by Kansas State, and in third place, UT Martin.
Again, this is a preliminary leaderboard, so that Kentucky versus Kansas State, that could potentially be different with the slightly different distance measurement on the pole or on the sled. We'll have to see where that shakes out. Same thing between UT Martin and Purdue there.
Setting up on the right side of the track.
Nebraska must be watching pretty close. They seem to think that far right side is better. And here they go off the line.
Moving along at 3.5 miles an hour. out past the 50 foot. Coming to a stop at 81 feet. Up next, we have University of Illinois.
The most ridiculous thing University of Illinois bought this year was a glow-in-the-dark purge mask for a hype video. Good to see they have time in the year to make hype videos. Love to see teams getting on that social media. The strangest talent or skill of anybody on Illinois' team is that JQ can recite all of the Talk to a podcast. Illinois says if they were stranded on a durability track, they'd bring an obnoxiously loud and large clown horn. Coming off the line here.
Not sure what they'd use that horn for.
Sometimes you just got to attract attention.
Across the 70 foot mark at 3.7 miles an hour, 3.8.
Coming up to 100, still at 3.5.
Starting to slow down just a little bit. Out across the 180.
186 would be the stop there. Okay. Next up, we got McGill. Their tractor name, MH5. Their team motto is, "Do you even pull?" They got a hydraulic drivetrain this year, drive-by-wire steering with Ackerman steering, and a four-wheel drive with a ladder frame. Their biggest challenge was designing the frame before knowing how all the components would fit, and then having to drill and angle grind the frame for those same components to be connected. Angle grinding seems to be quite a theme here today.
One unique thing about their tractor or team is that they live on an island. I did not know that.
I think they're probably the only island-based team here.
Slowly but surely, they're off the line. 2.8 miles an hour. Across the 50-foot cones. Coming up on 90 feet at 2.5 miles an hour. $120, still keeping it going at 2.5. Really bogging down Still going. Still going.
Flag
Came
to
to
a stop at 167 for McGill.
What a pull.
Up next, we got Saskatchewan. If they were a bunch of pirates, they would have a Saskatchewan flag, and they would have toques in their treasure chest because it's important to keep the ears warm in the winter. Showing our preliminary leaderboard again. We got Kentucky in number 1. UT Martin up there at 3rd. K-State at 2nd. Purdue and NC State.
Trying to get lined up on the sled. Go to the overhead shot. Should be pretty maneuverable with that 0 turn.
And they get it lined right up. We do have a real tight packing on this pole. Seems like once you get to 190, just about everybody stops. We are green on the track.
And they're off.
Started at quite the angle there, but they got it under control.
Slowing down around 90 feet.
Got that wiggle going, and they stopped at 94.
We have 10 minutes for Oklahoma State to show up. If they don't, that Saskatchewan will be the last poll of the competition.
Last poll for 2025.
While we wait, we can take a look at the leaderboard again. Remember, these results are preliminary.
After our quarantine period, we will be doing a exhibition polls. So any teams that would like to get into exhibition polls, please line up. Please line up at the scale for exhibition polls. We will quit running the scale at 3 o'clock. Yeah, we got that real tight packing there on the pole distances.
Oklahoma State will not make it to the pole. Oklahoma State will not make it to the pole barn, so that it is official. This concludes the end of the A-team polls for the competition. We'll see you at 6 o'clock for the banquet.
Thanks everybody for coming and tuning in online.